Good afternoon all, this is CAD-CAM. I'm going to take this solid model I have on the screen and we're going to do a little pocketing, also using an option to drill first and then go ahead and pocket and have that tool start with that. I'm going to go ahead and show you at this time. I have 1 point and 1 solid on the screen. On that, I'm going to unshade this to see visual a little bit easier for you right now. The first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is do a toolpath and drill. So we'll go ahead and drill using this point here. Grabbing a tool, using my filter options. Between that, I'll say paint 170 and 250. Give me a few drills there. Looking for 201. That'll work for me. Using this drill right here. I'm not worrying about feeds and speeds at this time and coolant. I am going to make sure that everything is set where it needs to. A depth 0.5. I'm going to go ahead and change that to 0.495. Leaving a little bit minus 0.495. A little bit of a depth there. And we'll peck drill. Turning off I, J, and K options. Just setting it for Q options. And go ahead and drill that. Turn off that toolpath real quick. Alt T. Then I'm going to go ahead and toolpath. And I'm going to use the option for pocket. And I'm going to go over here to wireframe option first. Point. Pick my point. Go back to the solids. I'm going to use the option for face. So this way I can pick the bottom face. So you can see that face, the top of each boss. Leaving this right now. Selecting that. I'm going to go ahead and select a tool. I will use a 3/16 at this time. Like I said, not worrying about feeds and speeds, but I am going to worry about depth. Making sure that I get the bottom part of my depth, my pocket there. Maybe some depth pocket points. Depth 100,000 pass, and I wanted to see the different islands that I picked. I picked the hot tops of them so it'll see each one. Going okay, and then I also would like to, when it's going down, I'd like it to face, come back and face as it's going down, and clean off the tops of those bosses. So I'm going to say island facing, and it wants an approach distance of 1 inch. I'm going to say 0.250. Don't need such a big one, and overlap percentage so it overlaps the whole edge of that on those at the same time. Go ahead and look, see if there's anything else. Going into our next one here, I'm going to say 40% of my tool. Finish outer boundary, start at close vicinity, keep the tool down, no. Finish passes at final depth, why not? Let's go ahead and give it maybe a little bit of lead in, lead out. In this case, so I'm going to say 20%, 10, just enough to stay away from the boss, not hit anything else on the way down. And we'll go ahead and apply that. Alright, what we're going to do now is then we're going to come back and use this edge of the solid. So I'm going to do a toolpath, contour, and in this case I'm going to use an edge, an option for an edge right here. That's the direction I want. I'm going to go ahead and use, in this case, well, let's go ahead and grab another tool. Why not? Let's filter this out, make this a 0.250, using that tool, in this case, and tool number 3. Absolute, and defining the depth right there by picking the solid, and multiple passes. So I'm going to say 3 at 0.150. Probably more than we'll need. We'll find out in a second. And overlap that, maybe a little bit of an entry exit. So I'm going to go ahead in this case and say 30% and 20%, and I'm going to do it at 45 degrees. See what we get from here. We'll go ahead and say okay and apply that. Maybe some cutter comp if we need it. Viewing that real quickly on that particular tool. So let's see. Does it actually go around this part area here? It looks like it actually misses that, but at the same time, it looks like we don't have to go back as far because we're not really touching anything at this particular time. So I'm going to say 2 passes. So I'm going to back that out, go back into parameters, and multiple passes, and we'll say 2. And let's go ahead and put a finish pass against the wall, 1 at 0.010. Cross that. That right, regenerate that one. I'm going to go ahead and select all, set this for a verify, and let's go ahead and give that a little run through. Drill follows the hole. rotation here real quick. Okay, had a little video issue there for a second, but I want to continue ahead. Give you the basics. So we can see it's following it into the holes every time before it goes into the next cut. And it is coming through to the end. Maybe we could have done it on every depth with a finish pass if we wanted to. In this case, I did it all at the bottom. So we'll see. Try and cleans the boss. Then the tool comes along and cleans that edge off. So basically, in just a few operations, we've been able to control the tool where it's going to start, drilling first, then come in with a pocket with island facing, and then use a contour to get this edge off of here. Because it is up against a wall, so it doesn't see it as a island, it sees it as another pocket. If it was separated from the wall, it would see it differently in this case. So, see how this works for you? I hope that answers a few of your questions.